Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to today's webinar on today's family changes and challenges. My name is Enol Gillen, and I am happy to facilitate this presentation for you. It is being sponsored by your EAP Anthem, and at the end of this presentation, I would go through a number of the resources that are available through Anthem. But with no further ado, I will begin. Okay? Today's family changes and challenges. Now, as it says in slide number 2, we're going to look at the history, facts, and some interesting information about families. Now, in the 1700s, people lived what they refer to as in an egalitarian society. It was a time when there was a belief in human equality, especially with respect to social, political, and economic affairs. This type of society, they advocated for practices of social equality, and they tried to remove inequalities, and as a result, both husband and wife worked the farms, and children helped. Everybody had to chip in and become involved. That moved on from like 1760 to 1840 to what's known as the Industrial Revolution. And it was a transformation of human life marked by social and economic changes from stable agricultural and commercial societies to a modern society that was industrial and relied heavily on complex machinery rather than tools and farming. There was a lot of chemical manufacturing, iron production processes, and an increased use of water power and steam power. In this society, there was a move from the from the rural areas to the urban areas. Husbands worked and wives stayed at home. And children, this led to unprecedented population birth, and as a result, children became a financial burden. Now we move on to 1930s, and this was characterized by low birth rates and the Depression and World War II. There were a lot of stay-at-home moms during this time, and men worked for really long hours. This type of society led to an increase in crime and an increase in suicides, an increase in malnutrition, an increase in prostitution and alcoholism. And actually, during this time, professional education became halted at universities. Some universities closed because they were understaffed, and marriages were delayed because of the Great Depression and the war that was going on. The divorce rates decreased, but it wasn't because people weren't getting divorced. It's because people were opting for what they call the poor man's divorce, which is abandonment. Somebody just, one spouse or the other just left the family as opposed to filing for divorce. It also led to a time where the birth rate was low, and that is because people learned more about birth control and avoided adding children to the family because they were seen as a financial expense. All right, in the 1960s and 70s, the feminist movement kicked in, and there were a series of political campaigns for reform on issues such as reproductive rights, domestic violence, maternity leave, equal pay, women's suffrage, sexual harassment, and sexual violence. It sought equal rights and opportunities and greater personal freedom for women. So this is what was going on in former families, in former societies, the families of yesteryear. Now let's skip forward to what's going on close to our time. In 2007, the birth rate was 4.3 million babies born, and this is the most ever. The exact number is actually, well, that they have recorded, 4,315,000 babies. In 2008, birth and marriage rate dropped because recession kicked in, which began in December 2007 and ended about June 2009. There were 3 million births in the United States in 2017, 3.9 million births in the United States in 2017. And this was down about 2% from 2016, and the lowest number actually in 30 years. Women in their 40s were the only group seen to have a higher birth rate in 2017. There were more marriages actually, but fewer births in 2017. Today, the nuclear family looks a little different. There are 2 parents and their children. And parents actually can be single parents, they can be same-sex parents, and we're actually seeing in today's family a lot of adoptions. Some families of today also have extended families, and some families have more than 2 parents. So things are a little different now than they were a few years ago. All right, let's jump over to our next slide. So actually, what is a healthy family? Well, first of all, according to George Murdoch, a family is a social group that is characterized by a common residence, economic cooperation, and reproduction. And it contains adults who maintain a relationship, who maintain a sexual relationship, and there may be 1 or more children that these parents gave rise to or adopted. So that's the definition of a family. But what is a healthy family? A healthy family includes a family system that has positive interactions with each other. What does that mean? It means that they engage in positive and meaningful communication with each other. Communication is deep enough, or at a deep enough level that all members of the family can share their feelings, their goals, and their accomplishments and experiences with each other. It is an atmosphere is created where everyone acknowledges each other's differences and supports one another, meaning that members of the family that is healthy listen to each other and they genuinely care about each other. They give feedback that is constructive, and they live in an atmosphere of love and affection, and they use positive words to each other. Now, healthy families allow for mistakes to be made and are forgiving toward each other. When there's conflict, it is resolved in a positive and healthy manner. Family members in a healthy family set boundaries with each other. They learn and exercise. They teach, learn, and exercise the sense of right and wrong. And they're consistent. The parents are consistent and in response and discipline when boundaries are tested. Okay, so in a healthy family, there are consequences for stepping over one's boundaries. In healthy families, no one person has complete control over the family system. Everyone's opinion matters. Everyone plays an important role in the family. And in a healthy family, the family unit respects each other's values. And this is a very important characteristic. Members see family as a top priority and consider their impact on each other before making important decisions. In healthy families, members spend time doing enjoyable activities with each other. They actually engage in traditions. Members acknowledge each other's accomplishments and show appreciation for other members. They develop a sense of trust among each other. They play together, they laugh together, and they share responsibilities like chores and tasks and financial expenses. And they, at times, share religious faith, a religious background. This is vital. Okay. Healthy families, members of healthy families also respect each other's privacy. Okay? Now, when the children are young, parental authority is absolute. However, as the children grow, there are discussions and shared decision making which lead to a gradual transfer of authority from the parent to the child that is growing and grown. In the adolescent years, all parents will tell you those are challenging years. However, parents who have taught their children a sense of trust and have provided them with security and have taught them moral principles, they can be almost certain that their children will find the right path. Okay? Healthy families also value servicing or assisting each other. They respect each other's rights. There's a delicate balance of being there for others and also making time to be there for your family members. And this is something that they pay close attention to. And they, last but not least, healthy families seek help with problems that they cannot solve. Okay? Every family has problems, and healthy families develop strategies to cope with difficulties. Communication is vital, and members are not embarrassed or ashamed to seek professional help or support groups should that become necessary. All right, if there are any questions, please feel free to type them in. All right, let's move on to our next slide that talks about the best practices for a healthy family. So this is like in summary of the last slide that we went through. So healthy families learn to deal with conflicts, they communicate with each other, they're loyal to each other, they trust each other, they're honest with each other, and there's a balance between seeing about taking care of themselves, their families, and reaching out to those in need. They put time into building relationships with each other, and they have fun together. They laugh, they play. There's actually inside jokes that they giggle at that no one else, others who don't belong to the family don't know anything about. And I know that's cute. All right, so let's move on to our next slide. There are actually more best practices. Healthy families express warmth and humor with each other. They allow for freedom of expression, understanding that they all cannot think and behave in identical manner. They cherish and remember memories. They have very special times that they all think about and celebrate, like birthdays, anniversaries. They put aside special time to get together for traditions or reunions. They build a support system, okay, understanding that an aunt, an uncle, a sister, or brother might specialize in being understanding and caring. Someone else might specialize in being the go-getter. Someone else might specialize in being the strategist for problems. Someone might be a financial resource. So they build a support system for each other, and they know, everyone knows where they would find what they need when they need it. Healthy families are flexible, they're understanding, and be healthy as a family system, meaning in addition to all that we've listed, an important part of being a having a healthy family is getting adequate nutrition, adequate exercise, and adequate sleep or rest. Very important part of staying healthy. All right, so let's look at single parenting. We're going to spend some time on this because this is something that is very common in our world, in the world that we live today. It actually can occur. One can become a single parent as a result of the death of one parent or the other parent. One can become a single parent as a result of abandonment by one parent, or one can become a single parent as a result of a divorce. Single parenting or the single parent family is more common than the family with two parents in the world in which we live. Should you become a single parent, or you're close to someone who has become a single parent, it would be necessary to adjust your expectations. You have a new role, or that person has a new role and new circumstances. They're coping with the loss of the co-parent, dealing with feelings of doubt and inadequacy. So expectations need to be adjusted. I want to jump to the bottom of the page and just refer to the fact that there's a high rise of unmarried mothers having kids on their own in the world in which we live in. According to the CDC, the National Center for Disease Control, in 2015, 4 out of 10 children were born to unwed mothers. And this leads to, this can lead to a situation where a lot of children end up living below the poverty line. There is something called the feminization of poverty. And this happens because in situations where a nuclear family is dissolved, either because of divorce or abandonment, the children almost always end up with the mother. And this affects the mother's ability to work, the amount of hours that she works. We've all heard horror stories of women being reprimanded, demoted, or even terminated at work because they've had to stay home with a sick child. It affects the woman's ability to work late, go in early, or even travel for work. And as a result, this leads to financial worries, right? Especially for women who are single parents. There's time and financial constraints, and it's said that 28% of children from divorced families live below the poverty line. And this is because of the feminization of poverty. All right? It leads to the single parent becoming or feeling overwhelmed because they have to cope with their own emotions, changes in living situation. Maybe they have moved to a smaller home, a different town. Then there's battling societal prejudices. There are some pockets of society where they're still very prejudiced, and they have stigmatized single parenting. And then as a single parent, one has to also assume additional roles, be everything to everyone. Sometimes you got to be both male parent and female parent at times as a single parent. Another thing that's listed here, another bullet here, is the possibility of dealing with the ex. That is, as a single parent, you need to work with your ex to help your children to cope with the changes in the living situation and to provide adequate care and provision for their needs. And then there's also the complicated extended family relationships, dealing with the rest of the family, the step family, the new romantic interests, dating for both parents, ex-in-laws. Then you have to use this extended family or involve this extended family in providing continuity and avoiding disruption of your children's lives. It's a lot, balancing parenting with care. You have to have your own work-life balance. And of course, developing co-parenting skills and all the planning that goes into successful co-parenting, because it doesn't happen without work. So remember that your children are also feeling similar losses to what you, the single parent, is feeling. Loss of that former family structure. Children, grief needs are not adequately met when the single parent gets caught up in their own emotional well-being or their own emotional battles. So as a single parent, you have to be intentional about coping with your changes so that you can be there for your child. All right, with that said, there are some tips that I'd like to share with you as a single parent. There are some do's and don'ts. I'm going to read from my do list first and then the don't list. Do be positive. Commit to making co-parenting an open dialogue with your ex. Okay? Find common ground with your ex and agree on issues such as boundaries for the children and behavioral guidelines. Be respectful of your ex. Be intentional about or commit to saying positive things. Do not allow your children to disparage your ex. Neither should you disparage your ex in their presence. Know when to compromise with your ex and maintain a unified front as it relates to or with respect to rules and boundaries. Be consistent. Agree on what is allowed with you and what is allowed with your ex when the children are with you and with your ex, because beware, children test boundaries and rules to obtain things that they would ordinarily not be able to obtain with the other parent. So please be aware of that. Stay involved with activities and take turns with the children as much as is possible. And don't feel badly about being the quote-unquote boring parent, because children need time to do ordinary things, okay? You don't always have to be the fun parent, the exciting parent, doing all the wild and crazy things with them. It's okay to be boring and get into some ordinary life. Please, as a single parent, update your ex as often as possible and necessary with regard to changes in your life or children that will affect the children's lives, or any challenging circumstances you may encounter that they can help to alleviate. Speak positively of your ex to your children. For instance, you can say stuff like, you know, I know mom's really good at making you feel better when you're sick. I know I'm not as good. Or you can say something like, Dad is a lot more organized than I am. You know, you can say positive things about your ex to your child. Now, there are things that from my don't list that I want to share with you. Don't badmouth the other parent. Don't badmouth your ex. Don't accuse your ex to your children. Don't disparage your ex to your children. Do not alienate your children from your in-laws or your ex's relatives. Do not use your children to deliver messages to your ex. Communicate with your ex directly as opposed to using the children as messengers. Do not force the children to choose one parent over the other. Okay? Do not punish your ex by allowing the children to be disrespectful or misbehave or wiggle out of responsibilities. And do not give in to guilt because of the change in living situation, and as a result, overindulge your children in things that you know would be harmful to them. Okay, so I think with that said, I can move on to the other slide. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm going to move on. Now, there's some strategies. I'm going to go back one. I thought I have another paper here. I'm sorry. There's some strategies that can help you right away as a single parent on the road to becoming successful. There are 9 of them. I'm going to list them for you. The first of the 9 is learn to speak with your children, not at them. Number 2, be loving and consistent in your discipline. Even when the rules are tough, you have to remain consistent. And you have to be able to provide security during uncertain times and communicate that need to them effectively. Number 3, have clear communication and firm decision making, because that will hold your family together. Number 4, avoid multitasking as much as possible when you're with your children. Be mindful. Give them your undivided attention when you are with them. Number 5, being mindful will help you to become or work smarter and more effectively when you're with them. Number 6, seek advice and learn how to do more with less resources. Number 7, be a committed parent every single moment and take all the responsibility for attention and care of your kids. Okay? Kids can actually thrive with just one stable parent. They can thrive and do well. Don't go it alone. Seek support. You do not have to do this by yourself. There are many support groups for single parents. And just remember that single parenting is very complex with social, emotional, and economic pressures that demand that you get help and support from others. You cannot single parent alone. All right? So let's move on to the next slide. Healthy parenting on the whole. Whether you're a single parent or you co-parent with a spouse. Treat each child as an individual. Know and understand their individual personalities and tailor your discipline to their individual personalities. Use that understanding of their personalities to help to develop their skills, to nurture them, and to discipline them. Practice and maintain a regular routine as much as possible, because for children, routine is the same as stability. Okay? Children need stability, and they find stability in routines. They're very disoriented when routines change. And if the routine has to change, please communicate that to them. If possible, to share with them why it's changing, please share that with them as opposed to just dragging them along and having them become insecure. Number 3, set realistic expectations. With that said, I mean to resist the urge to expect more of yourself or your kids are capable of giving or producing. Okay? Know what you're capable of, know what they are capable of, and work within those limits. Expecting more of them and yourself is going to set you up for a lot of stress, a high-stress living environment. Create boundaries. There ought to be clear definitions of right and wrong in your household. Do not give in when the boundaries are tested or crossed. Okay? Stay consistent, meaning let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Number 5, set examples. You are the role model. So if you want your children to have a healthy personal life and a healthy family life, it starts with you and what you model to them. Lead by example. Practice whatever you preach to them, and they will follow you. They will copy you. And in fact, as they get older, if they happen to observe you saying one thing and doing something else, they will call you out. Okay? They will be vocal about it. So please be mindful of that. Practice what you preach. And when they start calling you out, it means they thoroughly understand the rules. And as a result, those rules apply fully to them also. Number 6, do not fight with your spouse or other adults in front of your children. Why? Because it teaches them poor communication skills and it teaches them poor conflict resolution skills. Whatever you model, whatever they learn from you, that's what they're going to live out in their own private, personal lives, professional lives. So teach them communication skills and conflict resolution skills that's going to help them out in life, later on in life. And be aware of your tone. As adults, we know it's not what you say, but how it's said. So please be aware of that. Okay. I don't know if you guys can think of the Allstate commercial where there's a young girl getting a car from her dad and a young man seeing his car just totally wrecked. You know, and when the young lady gets presented with her car from her dad, she's like, "Is that my car?" Just bursting with excitement. And when the young man saw his car crushed because some other vehicle crashed into it, he's like, "Is that my car?" It's the same words. It's how you say it, it's what communicates to the other person how you feel. So please be aware of your tone of voice. Okay? Number 9, slide number 9. So what's the recipe for success with a happy family? It's important to enjoy time with each other. And yeah, there's a time for everything. You know, there's a time for chores, for school, for work. But there should also be a time for playing and getting along and doing fun things with each other. Ask each other how their day was, you know, and then really show interest. It shouldn't be just a reflex. So how was your day? And with absolutely zero interest. It's very important to keep up with the goings on in your family, in the lives of your family members. This is quality time, you know, asking your children or your spouse, you know, how was your day, and really being interested, you know, and being in a position to share joys and fears and confusions, you know, it really provides great bonding. If you're married, put your marriage first. Carve out time for your spouse. I know it's challenging when you have children, but you have to make some time for yourself and your spouse. Get a babysitter, have a date night. Put family before relationships. This is with respect to time, money, conflict resolution, and other resources, okay, and protection from danger. Do what you need to protect and preserve your family. Build a balance, you know, among all these activities listed here: work, school, family time, personal time. I know it's easier said than done, but it's absolutely necessary. Develop a schedule and have plan Bs for each of them of your scheduled activities so that you can have balance. Try not to raise your voice when you're upset, when you're agitated, when you're displeased. Be firm as opposed to being loud. Okay? Take deep breaths. Walk away. Separate yourself from the situation if it's necessary. Go for a walk. Take a few deep breaths. Have some alone time. But try to be firm as opposed to being loud. Take down time from being plugged in. Meaning, make sure to have some time for self-care, to take care of yourself. Have a hobby that you can probably spend at least 15 to 20 minutes a day enjoying. Treat yourself from time to time, but it's also great to just have some quiet time where you're just not being pulled in different directions. Everyone doesn't want to talk to you or expect you to respond to them all at the same time. You're not running around doing chores. You're just having some quiet time doing just what you want to do. And if that includes a nap, take a nap. And last on this list is discuss finances with each other. Include your kids as much as is possible in financial discussions so that they can learn the skills that they need to discern how to keep a balanced checkbook and how to be thrifty and wise with money. So as a result, they can be included in discussions about not eating out every day, can't eat out every day, about taking lunch to work or to school and how much money that saves. They can be taught how to use coupons or the bargain hunt for sales, and how using or enrolling for loyalty cards at different stores gives them access to lower prices than people who don't have these cards. Teach them the wisdom of saving for a rainy day. There are a lot of there's a lot of information on the internet about squirrels that are that it's really helpful for teaching children the importance of saving for a rainy day, you know, because that's how the squirrels live. They enjoy the feasts in the spring and the summer, but they start putting away food from then so that they will have stuff to eat late fall and throughout the winter. You can Google squirrels and saving for a rainy day, and you will see it. And children enjoy it. It's presented in a really non-threatening manner. Teach them the danger of instant gratification. That is important. Sometimes you don't have to have exactly what you want at the same time, or at the time that you see it or want it. The importance of working and saving towards something that you want, and then the benefits of saving for a desired item. Okay, whether it's they put aside their parts of their allowance, or they do a chore that they don't ordinarily do and get paid for it, or they save money and you match what they have, but the importance of saving for something that they want. Okay, with that said, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. Doing fun things together. Some suggestions here are mealtime, so cooking together, and most importantly, cleaning up together, right? Taking a vacation, that's very important. At least once a year, your family should go out together, go a getaway together, even if it's just for a weekend. That's important. Volunteering together. As a family, it teaches the value of helping. It teaches your children the value of helping those who are disenfranchised and for caring for folks in your community. As a family, you can exercise, walk, or hike together, and it teaches a lot of life. It teaches a great lifestyle habit, and that great lifestyle habit is routine exercise. And then you can look at old pictures and videos and reminisce and teach the children sentimentalism. It's okay to be sentimental. And then you can do chores together to ensure that the children learn to do it properly. You know, as many times as necessary, do it with them. And then it's a skill that they have when they decide to live on their own. So I think that was the last content slide, but I want to direct you to the 3 websites that are listed here: onetoughjob.org, Children's Aid Society, and Love is Respect. They are really helpful for working through challenges of maintaining a healthy family. There are a couple more things I'd like to share. I hope you don't mind sticking around and listening. There will always be disagreements. People will not always see eye to eye in a family situation. You know, it just happens. You know, the saying goes, you can please some of the people some of the time, but never all of the people all the time. So, and because of that, there will be disagreements. So during disagreements, it's important to remain respectful, to not argue in front of your children or not argue with your children. When you disagree, please fight fair, meaning do not use you statements that are what's called blame statements. You made me mad, you did this, or name calling, you are X, Y, Z. Use I statements that convey your feeling Okay, and it shows that you're taking responsibility for your feeling. I felt upset when that was said, X, Y, or Z was said to me. I am uncomfortable when you do X, Y, or Z. Okay, with an I statement, you're taking responsibility. You always get home late. You're always coming home late, as opposed to, I am unable to fall asleep until you get home. So when you do disagree or you have to speak up for yourself and be assertive, please remember to use I statements as opposed to you statements, which are also called blame statements. Pick your battles. Do not expect to win all the time. Okay, there are some things you can't fuss about everything. Yes, there are some things that just will not go your way. Okay, you should always seek a win-win solution, because those are the ones that last a long time. When the solution results in only one person winning, the solution doesn't last for long. It's never long-term when only one person winning. Try to seek win-win solution. This goes for the personal life, your family life. It also goes for your professional life. Okay, and then compromise often. Okay, as much as is necessary to maintain cordial relations. All right, and the last thing I'd like to share with you, does anyone have any questions before I move on to the last item? Okay. I don't see any questions. All righty. This thing is called rules for if you're ever in a situation where you have to parent children with another adult. You know, some of them I've listed, and I just feel it necessary to reiterate. Okay, don't talk negatively or allow your children to speak negatively about the other parent. Don't question your children about the other parent's life, personal life. Don't use your children to spy on the other parent. Don't have heated conversations with the other parent in the presence of your children or during exchanges. And don't make promises to the children and try to win them over at the expense of the other parent. Don't schedule activities for the children during the time that the other parent should have them. Don't bring adult issues like custody or the court into conversations with your children. Don't ask your children where they want to live. Don't attempt to alienate the other parent. Don't allow step-parents to negatively modify the relationship the children have with the other parent. And don't use phrases that draw the children into your issues and make them feel guilty about the time they spent with the other parent. Oh, I miss you so much. I wish you didn't have to go there and spend so much time there. That's going to make them really feel guilty. All right? And there are some do's. Do communicate with the other parent and keep similar rules. This is just a summary of what we already discussed. The discipline that the children have to receive must be mutually agreed upon. Parenting time arrangements should be made and confirmed beforehand between the parents without involving the children. Okay. If there's to be any change or deviation from the agreed upon plan, please do your best to notify the other parent in a timely manner. Keep the other parent informed of any scholastic, medical, psychiatric, or extracurricular activities that the child has become involved in. Keep the other parent informed about your change of address and telephone number. Now, you know I'm saying to do this, but if safety is a concern and there are restraining orders in place, there's no need to do this, okay? Do refer to the other parent as the child's father or mother whenever you're talking to the child, as opposed to my ex, my ex. Okay? So that's going to have an effect on the children. So with that said, we have gone to the end of our content slides. Please remember that Anthem is available to help you with maintaining a healthy family. There are face-to-face counseling sessions that you can go to, but you can also, it's not only available to you, it's also available to members of your family. Okay? You can also seek their assistance with financial or legal consultations. They will provide help with elder care or child care. Elder care, they would help, if necessary, find adult daycare or even housing for your elderly loved ones. They will vet institutions for you. They will help with finding safe daycare for your children. They also assist with college prep exams and choosing colleges. There is a daily life resource. Should you be the victim of identity theft, they assist with that recovery. They help you to get free credit monitoring. And of course, the My Strength section, which is like a health club for your mind, inspirational, encouraging information. If you are depressed, there's a toolkit that they will provide for you. And all of this you can have access to via their comprehensive website, anthemeap.com, and your login would be Plow and Heart. Okay? Plow & Heart. You would find resources, self-assessments to help you determine where you are emotionally on an issue, where you stand, health and wellness library, and of course, legal forms should you need them. If you would rather speak to someone, please feel free to call the 800 number that's listed. It's 800-346-5484, and someone will be there to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please take advantage of these resources. Do not go out there and pay for something that's available to you free of charge. Okay, with that said, I am finished, Shannon, and I'm going to turn it over to you. And I look into the chat box to see what you would type. If there are any questions, I'm here. Please feel free to ask any question you'd like to have answered. All right, I'm going to read what she typed because her voice, her audio isn't working. She says, sounds great. Okay. I'm so sorry your stuff isn't working. So she says, sounds great. We appreciate it. I thank you, Shannon. I don't know if anyone else would like to add anything before we end today's session. It's now 12:48 p.m. I'm going to leave this open for a few more minutes. Feel free to type your questions. Yeah, sure, I can do that, Shannon. I'm going to send it to you now. Okay. So without further ado, thank you very much for attending today's webinar, and I hope that this information was helpful to you all. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.